So welcome to the third Saturday, and as probably many of you know, when Charles Thielen left town, Scott asked if different people would volunteer to host different Saturdays, and so this is the Saturday that I'm hosting, and it is a food drive and a fundraiser for Food for Lane County. The structure of today is that Alicia Hines from Food for Lane County over there is going to come and talk about their programs for about 10 minutes, and then Quentin Howard's going to read, followed by Cecilia Hagan, and then we're going to take a small break, and then John Whitty's going to read. So if people want to move up, this is a small crowd. You're fine staying where you are, but if you want to move up, that's fine too. So first, let's welcome Alicia Hines from Food for Lane County.
I'm so glad to be here. I usually take the opportunity when people invite me to talk about Food for Lane County. I'm gladly obliged. I am Alicia Hines with Food for Lane County, and my title at Food for Lane County is Food Resource Developer. And what that means specifically is that I run all the food drives, so I get to coordinate with people that have this generosity and this incredible idea to host some sort of function that raises food or funds for us. And I also work with grocery stores recovering food that they can't sell but is still good for people. And then we have these creative uses for it and get it out to people in our community. I'm pretty confident that most of you are familiar with Food for Lane County. Some things that you may not know, though, you'll probably learn a little bit in the next little few minutes that I'm going to be talking. Something that I think a lot of people don't realize is how devastating hunger is in our community. Currently, 39% of the residents living in Lane County are eligible for emergency food assistance. That means that 39% of the residents are low enough income that they can come to us and get an emergency food box. And I do say emergency food box because if people have an income, they should go and purchase their own food like most of us. If they're eligible for food stamps, called SNAP now, they need to go and enroll in that and receive that benefit. And Food for Lane County provides that last tier of an emergency net for people. The main service that we provide is emergency food boxes. And what's very cool about the way Food for Lane County approaches it is that we include this model of choice in it. So we have 33 pantries in Lane County. Food for Lane County provides the food to them, and volunteers and employees of our partner agencies, for example, Catholic Community Services, which I think Steve volunteers for occasionally around the holidays, or St. Vincent de Paul, or Eugene Faith Center. They're partners of ours, and they provide their own volunteers to do the function of getting food out to people. And all but 2 pantries in all of Lane County set it up shopping style. And what that means is that depending on how many people are in your household, so if it's just an individual, if I were to go get food, I would get less food than a family of 8. They're going to get much more food than me. And so we really aim for the equitable, fair distribution of food to people. And what happens is, depending on their physical space, because they're all different, Coburg Pantry's like smaller than a 1-car garage, and Catholic Community Services has a new building that allows them a lot of space. Cottage Grove is an old hospital. They have a dog food room. They don't realize how lucky they are. And so what happens is, you go from space to space where they'll take all of the cheese that we get. So we get cheese from distributors, manufacturers, grocery stores, and then they'll put all the cheese out. And it'll be, a bag of cheddar and some pepper jack and some random little chunks of this and that. And they get to take so many of each item depending on how many there are in their household. An individual, I'll get 1 small piece. If I have a family of 8, I might get to take 4 or something like that. And so, if that makes any sense, you can't go in with a specific grocery list. You can't say, I would like a 1 pound Tillamook sharp cheddar in a, it's not realistic. However, there is that element of choice. We're dependent upon the donations that we receive, but people do have that dignity of choice that when they go in, this will work for my family. I know how to prepare this. This is something that I enjoy, or I can't eat this because of some sort of dietary or preferential reason. And then what that means is that we're treating that person with dignity and respect, And it also allows us to be good stewards with the food that we have. I'm not going to give Kathryn, you know, cheddar cheese if it'll make her break out in hives, or if she, you know, or vomit everywhere. You know, we're going to get it to somebody that's going to use it, enjoy it, and it'll be a good use for that food. So that's the main way that food goes out. People are allowed to get about 1 food box a month, and it's a 3 to 5 day supply of food. And so that's the main way that we provide food to people. We also have meal sites, which is essentially what people think of as a soup kitchen, but they are much more creative than that. Food Filling County, we have our own meal site, which we employ employees to do the work there, and we have volunteers at Food Filling County that work every day cooking the food made out of donations that we have. And one beautiful thing, has anybody ever been to the dining room and worked it? We have one volunteer, a couple, okay, a few, good. I encourage the rest of you at least to like drive by there and peek in the windows. It's right across the street from the Wow Hall. It's beautiful. There's art on the walls, and most of the people that find themselves using the assistance of a meal site are really in crisis. So most of them probably don't have shelter, homeless individuals or families, or they are under-housed, meaning maybe there's too many people they're staying with relatives that don't have access to a kitchen, or their power's been cut off and so they can't use a kitchen. So they're in a situation where they need a hot prepared meal right now. And so what's very cool about this, though, is that it gives people an opportunity to interact with people that normally, that there's, for some reason, I think you guys can probably look within yourselves and recognize some of this, that there's a lot of times a division between myself and somebody that's asking me for something on the street. And there's often this awkward dynamic there, but the dining room relieves that. And it's so beautiful to be able to give, and to give it to somebody that is receiving it gratefully. And so we have a hot vegetarian and meat main dish, and there's a starch side and a fruit or a vegetable, so it's a balanced meal. And the volunteers have cute little purple or black aprons, and they serve them their beverage and their dessert, and they have cloth napkins, mostly because that's what's sustainable for us, but it's also a dignified and beautiful thing for the diners. And it's one of my favorite places in the world to go to the dining room and volunteer my time. We have a number of other programs that are really incredible too. So childhood hunger is a huge problem in our community. Oregon, this is going to shock most of you, I think. Oregon is #1 in the nation for childhood hunger. 29.2% of our kids in the state of Oregon are hungry. In Lane County, this is a different statistic, so not necessarily hungry, but eligible for free or reduced meals. 53% of the kids in Lane County get free or reduced meals at school. What are we doing about it? We have a few really amazing programs. We have one that's a partnership with Heartside, where we provide little baggies of nutritious cereal. What is it called? Fortified cereal for kids. And schools and daycares and after-school programs are given a lot of free rein on how they can distribute that. So if they see a kid that is having a hard time focusing, or is fidgeting around, or a lot of times they'll distribute them before tests, or they'll give them out at the end of the day or on recess, you know, when they're going home and not sure that they'll get another chance to eat before they get dinner. And so that's been a real gift, and kids love them. They're called Vanilla Crunchies, and they just love them. We are so grateful for Heartside and Glory Be for giving us the food and the ingredients to make that and to distribute that. We also have a partnership with Umpqua Bake. It's called the Snack Pack Program, and we provide 2-gallon-sized bags with easy-to-prepare foods that kids can prepare on their own without adult supervision. And these get distributed at several schools that have either 90% or I think it's 87% or above free or reduced kids. And so these get distributed to kids that get identified by their teachers and counselors as being really in critical need of supplemental food. And the way that they distribute it is very dignified and hush-hush, not to stigmatize these kids in any way. And so they get to go home and they put them in their backpacks, and then we've heard stories of some of the kids that they go home and they hide them under their bed or in a suitcase because there's other siblings, or you know, that they they don't have ready access to food. And so to be able to, every weekend or every break, give them this food because they're not going to be getting their free or reduced meals at school has been really life-changing for a lot of these kids. We're also, the summer food program, I think most of you guys know about, because it's very aggressive here in Lane County. We have tons of sites. If you've driven past a park and seen kids eating, that's the summer food program. Food-Filling County facilitates most of those sites. The Bethel School District does facilitate some. And we have volunteers, tons and tons of volunteers every summer that put together food, and then they put them in little bags and put them in these hot Cambros to make sure that we're adhering to proper food safety guidelines, and then we serve it to tons of kids. And again, it's a program that doesn't stigmatize children for being low income. How sites are approved to be part of the summer food program is because a certain percentage of the people in the area are low income. So there's a high likelihood at low income housing or park near low income housing that there would be people that would use the services. I'm just going to talk for one more minute. We have a couple new programs that I'm really excited about, and then I will be available during our little hiatus as people are rushing back there for the deviled eggs, which I tried one and they're very good. And also there is some sheep's milk cheese, which I highly suggest. We have a couple of new programs which are very exciting. So traditionally and historically, food banks have been in the position of giving people a handout. When people find themselves in crisis, we try and elevate them out of that moment of crisis and get them through to their next moment. And so that's what we do with emergency food assistance. A couple of things that we're doing right now, which are very exciting, is in an effort to not just give people a handout, but give them a hand up. And I think looking around here, there's a pretty educated group of people, I think. And I think all of you guys probably believe in education as a tool for elevating people out of that situation. And so we recently created a position at Food-Filling County for a nutrition education programs coordinator. And what her function is she's going to be, and has already started this, it's kind of in its infancy, but this is going to be developing more and more over the next, I don't know, it's going to be developing more and more. Two main programs that are educational programs. One is called Shopping Matters, and that is where we take low-income individuals into grocery stores and learn things about unit pricing and bulk produce and bulk items and staples and how you can make your dollar stretch and make nutritious items. And so that's very exciting because we find with people that live in poverty, especially people that have grown up in poverty and carry on in poverty on their own, they're missing that piece of their toolkit to how to stretch your dollars to the end of the month. And the other one is called Cooking Matters, excuse me. And they're hosting these, it's a course, so it's like weekly for I think 8 weeks. They come in and they learn how to chop and cut and cook actual ingredients. And they make meals and items and food items, and then they get to take home the ingredients for those same things that they prepared. Because they're low income, and then they get the supplemental food and all the tools that they need to make that food. So it's very exciting. And I encourage you, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, interests, or anything about Food-Filling County and what we're doing, find me during the break. And I thank you guys so much for your attentive listening to what Food-Filling County is doing, and for your support. I was really encouraged to see so many of you guys walking in with food. So if you ever have any way that you want to give back, there's brochures over there about volunteer opportunities and plenty of information about who we're feeding, what we're doing. So I encourage you guys to learn more. Come and get a tour. I'll show you around. Thank you guys.
It's appalling, like how many people go to bed hungry. Yeah. Thank you, Alicia.